You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Hi, I'm Sue Fulmer, Secretary of the Core Council and Practitioner in Training at the Center for Spiritual Living, St. George. I'm here this morning to guide you in a meditation about the body temple. We're going to scan the entire body from top to bottom as a way of getting centered. To begin with, take a deep cleansing breath. Now feel your feet on the floor. Feel the chair underneath you supporting your weight. Relax and allow yourself to be supported. Bring your attention to the top of your head and simply feel whatever sensations are there or lack of sensation. Let everything relax. Very slowly, let your attention move down the sides of your neck, the tops of your shoulders. Remember to breathe naturally. Slowly move your awareness down the upper arms, the elbows, the forearms. Let your attention rest for a moment on your hands, the palms, the back of one hand, now the other. Relax the upper part of your body. Slowly move to the chest. Release any tightening. Keep moving downward to the rib cage, the abdomen. Breathe in. Feel your ribs move and your belly expand. Return your attention to the neck. And now let your awareness move down the back of your body. Shoulders, shoulder blades, mid-back, and lower back. Breathe and relax and release your focus here. Bring your attention into the pelvic region and slowly move your awareness down to your thighs, your knees, your calves, and all the way down your legs. Feel the ankles. Settle your attention into your feet and toes. Relax the whole body. Contemplate the words from an article in the current June issue of the Science of Mind magazine by our friend Eugene Holden. Remember, your body is the temple of the divine. You are not your body. You are so much more. Within you is the infinite intelligence of the One. Your body is the temple of love. As your body allows you to move in this dimension, it deserves your love. Love your body for the temple that it is. The body remembers everything. When it seems we can't let go of the memories of the past, it's because the issues are in the tissues. Now is the time to let go of past hurts and resentments. Let go of everything that is not for your highest good. We are connected to life. We are all from the mind of the infinite. This is why we are to love our neighbors as ourselves. Let us remember that we are unified as one. The one body is the temple of life itself. Create your own affirmation that is appropriate to honoring your body temple. Affirm a healthy, beautiful, holy body temple. Thank you for your attention. Service will begin shortly. Namaste.
You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I welcome you. Happy Pride Month. We're delighted to have you guys here with us today. Our service is coming up. We're an open and inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. Our purpose at Center for Spiritual Living St. George is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, to awaken our community to its divine nature and the greatest expression of who we are. So our talk this week, or the team behind our talk this week is Marina Anderson is doing the teching. Meditation, beautiful meditation was just given to us by Sue Fulmer, and she will also be doing the reading today. And I'm your host. Alan's providing the music. Star will be providing the invocation. And there's this new guy around. Well, he's actually not new, but he's our new minister. Rev Joe Kovach will be actually giving the talk today. I'm excited to hear. So now I believe it is time to bring in Mr. Alan Stanley.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh,
Hello,
your little
Chris.
box over there. Oh, now you're a big box.
I had to run and sit down.
Take it away. Lead us in with music.
I'll do that. I travel to the farthest corners of this world alone. Pondered all the great religions that mankind has known. But until I found the silence, I continue to roam. There's so much in a quiet moment. Just be still and go. I studied with the best of teachers from winter till fall. Listen to the greatest speakers in the finest of halls. But until I found the silence, I had nothing to show. Because there's more in a quiet moment than I could ever know. There's a place in everybody. Just be still and go. And you'll find in that quiet moment all you wanted to know.
Thank you. The quiet moment. Knowing that there is only one mind. I celebrate that one mind. That one mind that is in each and every one of us, right here and right now. I recognize it. I know the truth of it. And I know it for each and every person here that may be coming later. There is no time. There is no space. There is no spot that God is not. And so knowing this, I bless each and every one of us in all of our relationships with all of humankind, being compassionate, and in that loving grace, I allow everything in my purview, everything. And I love it with the grace that is looking right at me as I look at anyone else. And I bless all my creative nature, knowing that this creative nature is beautiful and the possibilities are unending. And I give gratitude for that. And I see everyone in perfect health all the time, releasing all fear, because fear is not in the mind of God. And I bless each and every one of us with an abundance of everything that just came before, knowing that the I am that is in each and every one of us is a joyful, beautiful, happy place to be. And so I bless this service, and I bless our new minister, Reverend Joe, for the wonderful message that he will bring forth today. I bless the receivership of everyone that is listening. And I say yes to all things good, as together we say, and so it is.
So it is. In the silence of our soul is waiting. A voice still and small. In a garden full of light and loving. God made for us all. From the heart our spirit's calling, showing us the way home. There's so much in a quiet moment. Just be still and go. There's a place in everybody. Just be still and go. And you'll find in that quiet moment all you wanted to know. There's so much in a quiet moment. Just be still and know. Just be still. And we'll bring Sue back to share a sacred reading with us today.
Thank you, Alan. Oh, that was beautiful. So the reading today is in the form of affirmative prayer treatment or spiritual mind treatment in fulfillment of our sacred covenant. This is the first week that we're not reading that together because it is fulfilled. Yay. So let my words be your words as I speak in the first person. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life, I know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which include the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. I know that the highest purpose for the Center for Spiritual Living St. George is to have a minister who reveals wholeness and is growing the center in joy and prosperity. I now see the fulfillment of our sacred covenant in the presence of Rev Joe Kovach. Right here, right now, we draw the divine substance down into our lives, and as it has been given to us freely, we are giving to others. I stand with my new minister and my beloved community in agreement, full cooperation, and in truth. I join with my new minister in spreading the love and perfection of the new thought message and to awaken all in my community of St. George and beyond to the divine nature and greatest expression of who we all are. I contribute to the vision of a world that works for everyone. I join with my community in the spirit of an open, loving, and inclusive environment. I join with Reverend Kovach in full cooperation and agreement as he demonstrates the leadership that expresses God and serves the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by his presence. I release my word to the law of creation, which is saying only yes to this partnership with our new minister. I am so grateful for the fulfillment of our sacred covenant and appreciate that all is in divine order and in divine timing. And so it is.
Well, so it is. I like that. Reverend Joe Kovach. That kind of sings, doesn't it, Sue? So you can sing along with this song, but there's a rule. You got to believe what you're singing here. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I am. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So I tell the world of peace on earth that only love can bring, and I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. The change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I am. And I love myself just the way I am. Yes, I love myself just the way I am.
Thank you, Alan. I don't know if you know this, but the very, very first time I walked into a Center for Spiritual Living was in Huntington Beach, and Reverend Dr. David Alt's band Alliance was playing that very song.
Yay!
And it was one of the pieces that was pivotal in making me really want to stay in Centers for Spiritual Living.
That's
and
great.
Here about, almost 30 years later. So thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
So I think this is the first Sunday of the month of June, and the theme is the body. The year is Living Everyday Wonder. So June is the body, and today's talk title is Welcome to the Temple. And our speaker, as I mentioned in the beginning, is our new Reverend Joe Kovach. And it's interesting because in my mind, I see him coming into service with fireworks playing and bands beating on drums as Joe walks in. It's like, I just keep having this visual in my mind. Joe, I'm so glad you're our minister. And I just feel really blessed, and thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, and looking good. I like the color.
Yeah, it took me 3 tries.
I think it's great. Brings out the blue in your eyes, sir.
Oh,
And,
good.
if you want to work on the fireworks for later,
Well, no,
celebration.
it's already here, and the mind of God is like.
All right. I'm
No,
hoping
music.
everybody's feeling that. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I am Reverend Joe Kovach, and very happy to be here for my first official talk as your senior minister. And I did want to open today's talk with just a little sharing of myself personally. I could talk probably for an hour easily and just on how I got here. But I did want to share with you just the process, a short process, because I think it's one that we all go through. A year ago, I was, this is June, so let's back up even to May. I was just finishing up my classes for my ministerial degree. Was moving into the summer where I had a bunch of practicums to do, which is kind of like mini internships, where I was taking on the leadership of my local center, CSL Southern Nevada. And I had no idea, really, honestly, what I wanted to do for my ministry. I know I love to talk, right? But did I really want to take on a leadership? I've had a career in education, and for the longest time, leadership was one of the things I avoided. A lot of work. I felt like it was a lot of stress, but I kept an open mind at that point. My mind was pretty full. And then, again, about last May, I recall going, being your guest speaker and hearing that sacred covenant. And I had heard it for at least a year before that. I've been speaking as a guest for a while. And all of a sudden, it kind of hit me in a different way. And I was like, wow, I'm coming to the end of my schooling. I could actually apply for that. That's pretty cool. And while, it felt like cool at the same time, right away, my brain was pretty full. So all of a sudden it started feeling stressful and fearful. And I'm like, I can put that out there. Like I knew my ministry was somewhere, but it was more out there. I'll use that hand. It's kind of like my cup was full. I couldn't handle anything else. So I just stayed open. I finished my schooling and so forth. And then right before I took my written exams, I had some time between then and my oral exams, and was asking about the position of senior minister for St. George. And the way it works is you can only get so much answers without applying. So I inquired and found out I could apply early to begin the process. And so I kind of hung out there for a while and then started that process because I wanted to know more. Like, is this something I really wanted to do? Still wasn't, sold on this position of being a leader, of being a spiritual leader. It's a pretty scary idea when you think about it sometimes, to put yourself out front in a very big way like that, which I have never done. And so just through before my oral exams, which were in February, I put in the application and I was happy about that. I was letting it out there. And then again, I'm going to keep this short, through the process of my exams, my oral exams, and then what's called launch, which is once you become a minister, the very next day, a couple days, you go into a training. The way that all took place, really just all of a sudden, I guess because I was done with my schooling and I was very, very open, I felt like, this is something I want to do. And what I found very interesting is the more I just allowed, the more I was open to trust that. I still had stressful thoughts, but for some reason, the spirit shows up and it's like, yeah, but that's just old thinking. You're thinking the way you used to think, and that doesn't have to be that way. And the fun just trumped all the rest. The idea of sharing all that I've been through in my life and the education and the wisdom and all that, and sharing it with a community really excited me. And so here I am, absolutely thrilled with the idea of being your spiritual leader, or else I would not be here. I'll be honest with you. I asked myself 100 times, do you want to do this? Because the way I do things, I'm all in. And so it was just a resounding yes over and over and over again. And everything lined up to be here. I finally heard that call, and kind of very much like the hero's journey. It came full circle. And what I'm really most excited about right now is getting to know each and every one of you. It's been nice being a guest speaker, and I've been there at your old center, the physical center. several times with my family. And now I'm looking to start something new. We'll be looking for a new location. We'll be looking to evolve the center. We have a great leadership crew, and that's one of the things I want to make sure that I give thanks to is all the practitioners, your core council, all the different team members that have showed up through this whole process of candidating and just really made it enjoyable. I'm going to say easy. It just allowed me to know it was a perfect fit. And a couple things I just want to commit. I want to commit to the continued success of what you already have going here as a community at CSL St. George. It's beautiful, and I feel it. My family feels it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that evolves. It's a great city, and there's a ton of potentiality. So very excited about that. I commit to you to continue to expand my own learning, my own education, my own expanding my own awareness, and applying it in my role as your senior minister. I also commit to being really fully authentically me. And that's something I'm asking you to join me in. Because as you know, the best thing to do when we're stepping up is to just be authentically, honestly transparent. I have a very strong passion with regards to this role. It's what I could have quit 100 times in school, and because it was a lot of work to put on top of a full-time job and a family. But it's the one thing that when I asked myself, do you want to quit? I kept saying, this is the one thing I love. So I commit to you again, to being authentically me. You're accepting me in the fullness, in love, and I'm loving you back. And I'm going to do my best to be as good of a role model as I can, and ask you to see me doing my best. And that's the last thing I want to ask for us maybe to agree to do together. I have a mantra that leads me through my life. It's a way of looking at life, which is simply that I believe everyone is doing the best they can with what they have and where they're at. And that kind of helps me take any judgment out of what I'm witnessing and brings it back to me when I do feel judgment. What's inside of me that's judging this? And so I ask you to join me and the leadership as we start a new chapter, one that I hope is a very long chapter in this history, a short history overall of CSL St. George. So I love you very much. I am looking forward. Please join us on next Saturday at the park as we meet in person for our physical community gathering. So I hope I got that all out. This is going to be an interesting talk today because there's a lot of emotions flowing. So, and last but not least, I just want to thank you for supporting me. Those of you that showed up to the workshop, those of you that are supporting me now. And if you're not sure, that's okay. I understand. But support the center, support the idea of love expanding in St. George, because really that's what it's all about. All right, Marina, I am going to switch to my talk topic. So thank you everyone for that, allowing me to share those feelings. And there's so much more that they'll come out eventually. So today's talk is about the body. Welcome to the temple. And so when you think about our body, what comes to your mind? Is it just a physical thing here? It's a vehicle. It is what it is. It's not very good. As I've gotten older, it's kind of falling apart. Do I see it as sacred? Do I see it as holy, magical? Do I see it as a creation of God? Or this is one way of seeing it right here. My body is a temple, ancient, crumbling, cursed, and probably haunted. So come on now, as much as you're laughing, some of us kind of hold some of those thoughts at times. And we're releasing those. We're releasing those right here and now because we're going to learn a different truth about our body. The body is, if you think about it, the one thing in this world which is completely ours, right? Rather than engaging in a spirituality that denies the physical body, the idea this week is to look at moving closer to an experience of God right here and now by fully engaging in this physical body. Our bodies are magnificent. They're magical. They're, as Thomas Troward says, they're conduits of the divine. Think about that, right? We're avenues, we're channels of the divine flowing through us and creating an experience uniquely for this time and this place that we have chosen to be. We call it life. We call it earth. And we've chosen this, and we've chosen our bodies. So let's at least try to begin with a celebration that allows us to be open to experiencing our bodies more fully as the divine creation that they are. And our bodies, let's think of them as good, right? We say there's no good and there's no bad in a sense, it just is. At the same time, there is a capital G good, meaning it's godly. So our bodies are godly good. Again, a clear connection with the divine. And we choose how much of that we get to allow to flow to and through us. This is our connection. And the connection isn't a physical one. The connection is a conscious one, is a mental one. Which, if we get quiet, and we're going to talk a little bit about this more, our body has things to share with us. So, want to share a quote from Holmes to get going here. And Science of Mind, our textbook, he says simply that our body is a part of the kingdom of God. And therefore, there is a spiritual pattern at the center of it. So think about that. Meaning this isn't like, it wasn't just thrown together. Right? We didn't come from a scrap yard. Oh, no. This is a divine plan. And very interesting enough, which this, in religious science, which is what the philosophy is under, proving that science part, if it's a spiritual truth, we believe it should be able to be proven in the physical. And even this is being proven now, that there is a divine blueprint for the body. And that's what we tap into when we are able to align ourselves to heal it. Or even if we're just open to the healing, no matter how it happens. Ernest Holmes also says this. He says, that is not the right quote, that one. Body expresses intelligence. Its apparent intelligence being lent by the consciousness which permeates it. So this is an important quote because what it says is our body is not just a physical thing. We tend to want to simply see it as material object with no divinity in it, right? Why? Because we know that in the end, it dies. We call it death, right? A physical departure, a physical transformation. But it is intelligent. That if we, as Star prayed, there is no spot where God is not, then God, as we say, is everywhere and must be everything, whether it is in consciousness or in form. And so what we're beginning to here in this talk recognize that the body is a physical idea of that which we call God or life or source or the universe expressing itself right here and now. Our bodies are the result of a divine idea, right? That's another way of thinking it. That was created from consciousness, and everything's consciousness. So there's only conscious thought, and therefore the body is God in physical form. Okay, so that's something different than many other faiths choose to believe. And so again, and let me say here and now as I talk with any talks, no matter who's talking, you have the permission to understand something, to take something in and believe it or not. And whatever you choose is perfect. So if there's something that's being said by me or another speaker and at any time in your life that you don't jive with, that's okay. Maybe it's not the right time for you to be aware of that, or it's just not in alignment with who you say you want to be. But in Science of Mind, we believe that everything is God in expression, including this physical body. So some of the points I want to make is, think of it this way. When we tend to look at the body maybe less than God, would we ever look at a beautiful tree, like a maple tree, and say that it should be something different? Like, you should be a maple tree. I prefer oaks. Or no, I prefer beautiful cherry trees. I want you to be that. Right? So therefore, in a sense, we're judging something that is the way it is, right? So the maple tree showed up as a maple tree, but we're judging and saying, no, you should be something else, right? We take this all in the idea of that nature is always evolving perfectly. So wherever there is a tree and whatever it is what should be in that moment. And when we look at this physical body and we see it as a limitation, as we see it as less than perfect, that shows up in our consciousness and in our body, that very energy, because all that is of the divine is flowing to and through us. And again, it's kind of like, if you think about it, the nice analogy I have all the time is, it's like flowing to us like a hose, but when you kink the hose, it slows the flow down. And in a sense, that's what our belief systems do, our negative thoughts do, because everything is here for us right here and now. That's what all the great masters have taught us, whether it's Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, whoever you want to go with. They all teach that God is everything, and it's right here, right now, fully right here, right now. And so we teach in Science of Mind again that everything that exists does so in order that the divine may fully express itself. That includes his physical body. And it's exactly perfect how the way it is. So one of the best things we can do is stop making anything wrong and beginning to accept and then move to loving what is right here and right now. Instead of comparing it like we do all the time to either someone actually real or mostly somebody photoshopped on a magazine page or in a video, that separates us from who we really are. And if we constantly do that, our body's going to feel that. We need to recognize maybe something we don't like, but then what do we do when we find out what we don't like? We teach to flip to what we do want. And so can we flip from the judgments and release those, bless those, and at the same time now, what do I want to feel? Can I feel that I am a unique, wonderful creation? And again, as it was said, I can't remember if it was the reading or the prayer, that, we have a body, but we're not the body. The body is a divine temple to be used in this time and space. And at the same time, if we didn't need it, it wouldn't be here. And so this judgment idea, the way we judge ourselves, is very important to me, and I want to share a personal story. So I was born with a cleft palate and a cleft lip, which basically means when I was born, my face didn't, as it grew together, it didn't complete itself, and so I had a hole. And when they fixed it, I had a scar here, and my nose was flat before I had it fixed. And when I went to school as a young boy, I don't remember if it was kindergarten or first, kids kept asking me why I had a crooked nose. Now, I didn't see it. I look in the mirror. I heard them, and I looked in the mirror, but I didn't see it because I was always seeing my normal. My normal, I couldn't see crooked. And I remember recalling asking my mom, why do they keep saying I have a funny nose, a crooked nose? And, she would just bless me. I'll be honest, I don't remember exactly what she said, but I looked after whatever she said. I looked in the mirror again one day, and I'm staring at the mirror, and I finally did this because I knew my finger was straight, and I did this, and then all of a sudden I realized my nose was off to the side. And in that moment, I had a very harsh judgment of myself, that I was different, that I was less than, that I was weird, that I was funny. And I carried that for a long time. And we do that still, though, in different ways, whether it's a pain or what we call a disformity. Something's different than somebody else, a quote weakness or a physical challenge. We judge ourselves in a negative way of being different, of being almost ungodly. Like, if spirit's perfect, why did it show up this way? That means we're simply not seeing ourselves as perfect in the moment. And so one of the things I remind myself, and that helped to get me through, is that, we choose this to be here in this body right here and now. And we chose to be here alive during this very pivotal time of consciousness, literally upshifting, up-leveling. There are things that are being spoken about now that would have absolutely not been spoken about and were not spoken about publicly 10 years ago. So why do we choose to be in this body right here and right now? There's got to be a divine reason for that. So again, I'm asking you to contemplate this idea about how has being you, the way this body is with you your whole life, led you to who you are today in a positive way. And if we feel it's holding us back, can we shift that? Can we shift that and release the judgment? It's very important, because just like everything else, we become, when we become grateful right? When I have a gratefulness for being in this body, then we're given more to be grateful for. So differently said, in a sense, we allow ourselves to see ourselves and the world differently, and therefore experience more of that capital G goodness. So another quote I want to share, again, by Ernest Holmes, but a different book, Living the Signs of Mind. He says, the functioning of the human body is not something apart from God, but is something within God. We must learn to love all these functions as being attributes of spirit. How about that? These functions as being attributes of spirit, and to sense the divine universal harmony underlying all. So maybe it's a challenge, maybe it's not, but to look at every function in our body, even those ones that we shouldn't talk about publicly, right? It's all divine, and we believe that everything is within God. Right? It's not us and God out here taking care of us. No, it's all within this consciousness, this life, this love of God. And so Ernest Holmes asks us, can we see that? Can we believe that it's not apart from God? Many of us in our physical bodies, we live with aches, we live with pains, we live in a sense of a discord within ourselves. Like we may be kind of happy even where we are, but then we have these pains and aches that we put up with. And I want to share an idea that maybe those aches and those pains are a very key awareness if we pay attention and understand maybe what they are. I'm not going to say maybe, what we believe they are is that divine energy being kinked so hard within our body that it's trying to communicate in the way that it can to say, hey, there's a problem going on here. That the way the divine works is being in a constant state of flow. And just like the idea of where there is water and it doesn't move, right? Nothing grows well in there. It leads to eventually death. Yet where water flows, it's constantly bringing life to it. So that pain, those aches and such, where we are experiencing the exact area, can lead us to some important understanding and ideas and wisdom. Again, we're often taught that the physical is somehow less than the spiritual. And again, if we hold that idea, then we're missing an opportunity to communicate, to commune with the intelligence that Ernest Holmes talks about, that is our body, with the divine idea that is our body. I want to make sure I'm being mindful of the time here. So when we're not being mindful or careful about our thoughts, then again, our bodies, which do love us, I do believe that our bodies are always in a constant state because every cell in our body has its own consciousness. That's why it's able to communicate with us. And it's sending us these messages. And how do we know, even if we say, oh, I like my body, I like the way it looks, but there's pain or there's stress, again, how do we maybe honor that? And again, with the ideas that our bodies are temples in which the divine lives, breathes, moves, has its beingness within it. How do we communicate to that? Think about that for a minute. Well, again, we have to open up to hear it. So that means we have to open our consciousness to recognize that our body responds to all of our thoughts. If it's all one, then our bodies are one with the consciousness that we are. We share in that energy together. And so if we are able to see our bodies as more than just material vehicles for us to drive around in this reality called life, that they're divine vehicles, then we open up to the idea of what they truly are. They're dynamic, they're masterful expressions, creations, full of the same wisdom that created it. Again, that intelligence, that infinite intelligence is right here in our body. So one of the ways that I want to share with you going through schooling, I took a great class, and my professor was named Dr. Martin Rossman, and he shared a couple books with us. And I wanted to share a couple with you just briefly. I'm not going to go too deep into them, but where's my little laser pointer here? Laser pointer. So The Worry Solution. And this is not a deep book. I recommend it for anyone who's listening. deep in the sense of fancy medical words. It's not. It's the idea of opening up that our bodies are divine and that there's a way to communicate with them. And that as we are able to use our mind to basically help at least either heal ourselves or relieve symptoms, he even says, okay, that we're experiencing. Again, if we're experiencing an ache or a pain or whatnot, now it could have a physical reason, of course, right? If I fell down the stairs, it's going to hurt. But we're talking about those lingering ones that are usually tied back to emotions. And science says that up to 80% of our pain and aches are emotionally based. So I recommend taking a look at this book. And then this book really shifted me, which was he teaches us how to take our aches and pains and give them a personality almost to be able to communicate with. And then he guides us through this idea of healing ourselves. So what he teaches us to do is simply talk to our bodies and recognize that when we do this, when I pay attention to, he'll say something like, what does, let's say I have a pain in my knee. What does that pain in your knee look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What are the ideas that come to you? Because all those are basically our humanistic way of blocking the divine that's trying to flow through. So by tapping into this idea of communicating with our body through imagery, sensory ideas, we slowly unkink that hose and allow the divine to flow through more. And really what we're doing is our awareness of the divine that's already there. Okay. So I recommend these two books highly. Because again, when we minimize our body as material objects, we miss this opportunity of communication. And if God is everywhere, God is in our bodies. God is our bodies. It's not our bodies and God. So when we tap into it, when we give ourselves permission, the wisdom comes. And I can tell you firsthand, I wish I had more time, but there's some amazing stories that I've had about communing with aches and pains in my body. And they've gone after I've communicated with them. And when we don't, again, it's usually from this place of separation, right? There's the body, there's me, there's God, all this separation. Well, how could I possibly help to heal myself? Well, in Science of Mind, we know how that's possible because we shift our thinking into divine thoughts. So it's not anti-spiritual to tend to the needs of the body. And if you're not there consciously, I'm watching time here, I'm going to skip through some things. So if we're not there consciously, that's okay. What are you open to? Jesus said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, then you're open to healing, right? And that's what if you go through the stories of the Bible, he always asks the person in some way, like, do you want to be healed? Like, where is your faith? In some way is what he was asking them. And the ones that are in the story of being healed were the ones that said yes. They went to him because they had faith. They were open. When he came to them and he asked, they said yes because they were open. So that's all we need to be in the beginning, is open. And so is it wrong to heal the body or heal some symptoms with that which we would call medication or outside assistance? No. Ernest Holmes talks about the idea by prayer or by pill. And remember, consciousness, everything is God. Now, eventually we aim to get to the point where we allow and are able to do it ourselves. Okay? But if not, there's nothing wrong. We don't deny the physical body or the physical ache and pain. We don't say that's not happening. We recognize there's an awareness there. We bless it. We love it. We open ourselves to it. And then we receive the help. And there should be no shame in any of that. Okay? It would be dumb to walk around with a broken arm and say, just think, well, it's going to heal itself, if you don't believe that 110%. And then a week goes by and it still hasn't done it, then get some help. It's just like doing anything when we pick up something new, right? If I want to start playing the guitar, I have to put a lot of time and practice into that. So that's one of the ways we could start, is just opening ourselves and putting time and practice into this idea of communing with our body, of healing our body. All right, shifting on. And this is a quote that Ernest Holmes shares that kind of goes with what I was just saying about, since we cannot walk on the water, we take a boat or an aspirin. Okay? He's not saying that we can't forever. He's like, if we're in the moment, we can't walk on the water. Okay? we take a boat, we take an aspirin. So in the moment, if I'm working on myself and I'm just not finding success, I don't beat myself up. I could get a practitioner to help pray with me. Or again, and we can do both. I can get some assistance. All right, where can I skip to so I end this in a good way? I want to go back to this idea that there is a divine plan for who and what we are. Absolutely. I believe this 100%. So that if I'm here consciously and I have this body, there's a reason I have this body. And now more than ever, I recognize that I don't have, there are belief systems which are being absolutely blown up that were holding us back from experiencing the goodness. Let me put it another way, heaven on earth. Okay. The idea is not to have to die to go experience in that what we call perfection, the heavenly state. All faiths talk about a way of heaven on earth, meaning recognizing God in and as everything. That's what heaven on earth is, because then there's nothing but peace of mind. And that peace of mind is in our bodies right now, waiting for us to dive in, to spend some time, whether it's meditation or doing some guided imagery work or going to see the right healer for you. Okay. It's perfect. We're all on this journey and we all get to do it our own unique way. Again, I say this all the time. Let's stop making ourselves wrong and open to the path we're on and being open to being simply guided. And again, pray, pray, pray. Okay, we begin our service with prayer. We end our service in prayer, and prayer shifts us, keeps us aligned with that fullness of the divine that is always happening. And if I did this correctly, I'm going to skip that part here. To build a world that works for everyone, we must first make the radical decision to love every facet of ourselves. The body is not an apology. It is the mantra we should all embrace. All right. So I will share the affirmation. My body is the house of the divine on earth. Now, I just read that very quickly. Let me pause. Let me say that because the energy behind our words matters, right? So let's take a deep breath. We're going to say this together. Bring in. My body is the house of the divine on earth. Thank you. So let's close out with some prayer. And knowing that we pray in the first person because there is only one life, I recognize that perfect life that is happening right here and now. I breathe in that spirit. I exhale spirit, and everything in between is spirit expressing. It is love. It is joy. It is this physical body right here and now. And yet I know this body will change as it needs to change, and that change is perfect and wonderful. I recognize that which I call God, Spirit, Source is right here, everywhere, in everyone, expressing. It is all one, and I welcome it. And I look at my body, and I love my body because my body is divine. And I look at, in this moment, being conscious of any aches or pains or anything like that. And I choose now to say, thank you for your divine wisdom. And I release any blockages, any pain, and I open to the divine wisdom in my life to experience a freer, fuller, more expanded life. I am free. I know this community is free. I know this community of St. George is blessed. And I am grateful for the opportunity to serve as its spiritual leader, as its senior minister. I am grateful for the current core council, for all the practitioners, the volunteers, and every single member, every single person that supports us, whether it's in any way. I bless it all, and I call it good with a capital G. And so it is. Thank you.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Joe. He was right. Boy, that was definitely a deep. I've honestly, in all my life, never really took in the concept of my body being an expression of God. It's usually my mind, my actions, what I do, and it's a coincidence that I let's see if I can see that mirror.
Oh yeah.
I just put that on my altar because of that very reason, that what I see in the mirror is something that I believed in my past that is different than what I am. And I actually avoided mirrors. One time when I was young, my brother said to me at one time that I thought I looked really cute. I was all dressed to go out and, party for the night. And I made some funky little outfit. And he said, Chris, other people don't see you the way you see yourself. You think you look all cute and everything, but you really look ridiculous.
Right.
And I have held on to that my whole life, that even when I look in the mirror and I think, oh, I look really good, I'm like, but probably other people think I'm ridiculous.
Right.
And that I've kind of moved ahead of. But the truth is that the mirror is tough. So I'm doing mirror work, and your whole talk, I appreciated everything you said. And we'll look forward to talking a little bit more in our Zoom meeting a little bit later. So
and talking of mirror work, it aligns perfectly with Alan's song, which is Louise Hay. And if people don't know Louise Hay, Hay, and hayhouse.com, I mean, that's a publishing company that shares that. But she was really pivotal in shifting, honestly, the world's consciousness and beginning to love ourselves and see ourselves as divine, simply by singing and by mirror work.
Yeah. And the guy that I saw singing that song, David Alt, was a direct student of Louise Hay.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Reverend David Alt, that was his beginning in our philosophy.
Excellent.
Yeah. So cool.
Well, thank you.
All right. I just love having you here. I'm so glad.
Virtual hugs, right?
So blessed. Yeah. Virtual hugs. Fireworks have subsided. All right, Marina, you can get rid of our new minister and bring it back to me. All right. It's time for announcements, everybody. So our first announcement's about tithing. And I believe it was Edwin Gaines who once in her workshops, I think it was in Vegas, probably Reverend Joe was there, said to tithe or to give your money where you're being spiritually fed. And that's how I feel about CSL. That's how I feel about our talks. They're shifting me in my life. They're moving me in a new direction of abundance and be able to hold things that are really valuable to myself in my heart that I may not have experienced if it wasn't for this philosophy. So our CSL St. George definitely appreciates anything you can do for us. You can give on PayPal from our website at CSLSG.org. You can send a check to PO Box 3132 St. George 84771. Or if you take your phone and the camera and you zoom in and bleep on that little QR code, it will actually take you to the link where you can donate. Again, we hope to feed you spiritually here, and in turn, we hope you assist us with that. So I believe this is next Saturday, Vernon Worthen Park at on the 11th at 10 a.m. I think the weather is going to be perfect. Reverend Joe does plan to be here with us, so come. Let's mingle in the park. And as pretty much everyone knows, if you're new, we hold a Zoom meeting right following service. That link is at the same place. Access meeting links on the CSLSG.org website. It's right on the first page. You just scroll down, click on the link, and you'll see the Zoom meeting, and we'll open up Zoom and we'll let you in. Also, during that Zoom meeting, our practitioner Star Starrett will be available to. We break you out into a small room, the private room, aside from the Zoom meeting, where it will just be you and she, and you can actually request prayer treatment there from her. The Zoom book club meeting meets Thursdays from 6 to 7. This Thursday will be June 9th, will be the actual last meeting for the book Mutant Message Down Under by Marlo Morgan. If you want any more information, I imagine Sue knows what the next book of the month will be. And her email is suegfulmer@gmail.com. We also at Centers for Spiritual Living have a community care circle. And what they do is they provide compassionate support through calls, cards, and prayer. If you call that number 435-893-6702, if you have a neighbor, if you have a friend, or if you just feel like you'd like some people to talk to, or one of your family members, we'll be happy to help you there. And our practitioners, excuse me, are always here, always available for prayer treatment. If you are not comfortable contacting us in person, you can actually email a prayer request to prayer@CSLSG.org, and we will respond to that promptly. With Centers for Spiritual Living and Centers for Spiritual Living St. George, there are plenty of service ops. If you're called to provide service, you can look in your newsletter. There's a lot of opportunities. We do have a local interfaith council here. I'm sorry, I've got to take a sip of my coffee, or no, it's tea. You can actually help participate in Camp Cedar Ridge, where I'll be spending the summer this summer. We'll host our young adults for a week. There's a Centro Latino that you can actually join there. And there is suicide prevention and food collection. So there's all kinds of that and more. There's all kinds of things that you can provide service, provide money, whatever you'd like to do. So our next Sunday coming up, we've got Javon Seeley. Excited to see him again. That's on June 12th. And his topic is loving this body. Boy, it's funny that I picked this month to work on body and self-image work, and it's all about this. So he will be talking about that. And then the following Sunday, The Body Remembers by Eugene Holden. So please join us back here on Facebook. We will be there or be square. So now it is time for our closing affirmation. Marina's going to start popping our lovely attendees' faces into the screen. There's Sue, there's Joe, there's Star, there's Alan, and there is Marina herself as we begin to read the closing affirmation.
All right. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Live.
Woo!
Thank you, everybody,
Thanks,
for being
everybody.
here.
We'll see you in Zoom.
See you
Finally,
in
my
June.
family's coming too, so come out Saturday and meet all of us.
Oh,
Yay.
Yes.
We're excited. All right,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a beautiful Sunday.
Yes.
Hope to see you in Zoom.